As the school day winds down, a hesitant girl calls out to Higashigimo, nervously asking if she could cover for her during cleaning duty. She explains she has something to take care of afterward. Hoping for a favor, Higashigimo looks back, uncertain, quietly pondering if she can say no. With a playful grin and a teasing tone, she quickly refuses, claiming she can't skip the supermarket's time sale later. Her light-hearted excuse leaves the request hanging in the air, as the scene shifts to a quiet window, hinting at the weight behind her words. As the others finish cleaning and start heading home, the protagonist quietly stays behind, sweeping up the last bits of dust. Though she thinks she can't refuse since she's Higashigimo, she still feels the weight of the task. Later, she sighs softly, clutching her shopping bag filled with groceries, including eggs she bought, before stepping out into the evening. As she looks up at the evening sky, the girl recalls the warning that demons appear at dusk, and one must never return home alone during that time. The serene sky contrasts with the unease settling in her heart, as she quietly wonders what these demons really are. Nearby, cats yawn lazily, oblivious to the tension in the air. The protagonist steps inside her home, setting down her groceries as she quietly announces her return. Outside, the night has fully settled in, casting a calm but eerie atmosphere. Inside, a couple shares a tender moment, the man complimenting the woman warmly despite her shy protest. The quiet creaking of the house fills the still night as the girl hides, watching cautiously. She thinks to herself that the woman has brought another man inside again. Outside, the full moon shines brightly, casting an eerie glow over the scene. Nestled in her hiding spot, the girl mutters softly about something tasting delicious, her eyes wary but alert. The strange creature with tentacles sneezes unexpectedly, startling the quiet neighborhood. An elderly woman notices and comments on the creature's cute hair accessory, sparking a confused reaction from it. The woman wonders if the creature caught a cold from sleeping with the window open the previous night. The girl with horns looks up with a mix of curiosity and hesitation, clutching her bag tightly as if preparing herself for what's to come. The quiet street around her feels empty, the distant sounds of an elderly woman and a passerby fading into the background. A soft breath escapes her lips, hinting at a sudden realization or a growing unease. The girl's panic skyrockets as she frantically clutches her horns, shouting in disbelief, What is this?" Her mind races, overwhelmed by the sudden realization that someone is approaching. Desperately, she tries to hide, muttering anxiously to herself as the tension builds. The mysterious figure suddenly pulls off a large cloak, revealing themselves with a casual, almost playful grin. The girl, startled and wide-eyed, stumbles back as the stranger approaches, asking if she's feeling unwell. Despite her panic, the girl tries to steady herself, nervously adjusting her hair while the stranger's tone remains oddly light and teasing. The stranger leans in with a knowing look, asking if she has any worries troubling her. The girl, flustered and blushing, tries to deny it, relieved that she hasn't been seen in a vulnerable moment. As the stranger walks away, they offer a simple piece of advice about starting the day with breakfast, leaving her both confused and embarrassed. The girl quietly accepts the offered bread, murmuring a shy thank you as she sits alone outside. Meanwhile, the stranger, now walking away, fiddles with a small device, grumbling about the poor signal. Reflecting on the girl, the stranger notes with a hint of amusement that she's starting to show a bit of a scent, suggesting something deeper beneath her nervous exterior. From the day the horn first sprouted, everything began to change. When startled or overwhelmed, the horn would appear, but if she wished for it to disappear, it would vanish. And so, as she faced her lessons, the strange new reality of her condition weighed on her mind. As the classroom falls silent, she nervously calls out the number 28, her voice trembling. Suddenly, a mysterious voice only she can hear urges her to start over from the beginning, confused and isolated. She realizes that this strange voice is unheard by anyone else, deepening the enigma surrounding her condition. The children watch a soccer game unfolding on the field, their attention caught by the swirling clouds above that resemble a snake's tail. Suddenly, a powerful kick sends the ball hurtling toward the goal with fierce momentum. The ball crashes against the net, and the kids react with a mix of excitement and alarm, shouting warnings as the scene intensifies. The ball crashes into the net with a sharp thud, catching everyone's attention. The girl watching the game notices the swirling clouds above, comparing them to a snake's tail, while the others react with a mix of awe and excitement. Suddenly, the girl holding the ball pauses, puzzled by why she's the one in possession of it. She senses something inside her, as if someone else is there, stirring a strange feeling she can't quite explain. Passing by a cozy bakery, a sudden memory of the delicious sandwich she had there recently flashes through her mind. That moment marks the beginning of a subtle change, as she finds herself responding aloud to a voice only she can hear. The mysterious conversation continues as the moon, partially obscured by clouds, seems to be slowly eaten away. The girl, now inside her room, questions if the strange voice can eat things, responding quietly as she recalls the voice describing various delicious, shiny, and round foods. Donuts, pancakes, dango, and macarons. While a flashback shows a family walking together, hinting at a nostalgic connection. The girl walks home alone, her footsteps light but steady on the familiar path. There's a subtle shift in her pace, as if something inside her is nudging her forward with a quiet determination. She murmurs a name, Shinonome, carrying a hint of something unspoken beneath the words. The girl is called into the staff room, where a serious conversation begins. An older staff member asks if her parents can attend a three-way meeting. Pressing for a definite answer, she responds quietly, agreeing to notify them if a suitable day arises, the weight of the situation clear in her expression. The older man insists that if financial reasons are behind her not advancing in school, scholarships are available, reminding her that her grades aren't bad. The girl remains silent, lost in thought, as he calls out to her about her future. Meanwhile, she quietly prepares a meal, responding softly that it's almost ready, while the man suggests she can handle next week's three-way meeting on her own. The man explodes with rage, slamming his fist down and shouting that he doesn't care about her future. He lashes out, accusing her of being abandoned by her parents and demanding to know who has supported her all this time. His fury is raw and unrelenting, as he orders her to find any job after graduation, no matter the cost. The man mocks her, dismissing her worries and calling her out for just drinking with men instead of working. She quietly admits her lack of money, but he snaps at her to hurry up, showing no patience or sympathy. The tension hangs heavy as she struggles under his harsh demands. The woman stands alone in the rain, quietly buying a drink from a vending machine, her movements slow and detached. Inside, she notices the door left unlocked and hesitates before entering. The quiet tension lingers as she steps inside, aware someone else is already there. The room feels empty and silent, with no one in sight despite the door being unlocked. She scans the space, her expression cautious and uncertain, wondering who might be there. As the clock ticks steadily, she moves deeper inside, her footsteps echoing softly in the quiet house. Her eyes widen in shock as she spots a man inside, his hand gripping a pack of cigarettes. She cautiously calls out, uncertain, while the cigarette pack slips from his grasp, falling to the floor with a soft thud. The door creaks open to reveal a grotesque, monstrous figure hunched inside, its large, bulging eyes fixed on a severed arm it is biting into with disturbing intensity. The creature's twisted form and unnatural posture fill the narrow space, casting a chilling presence. A hand, presumably the woman's, hesitates just outside the doorway, caught between shock and fear. The woman's shock deepens as she realizes the creature is sucking blood from the severed arm. A desperate voice cries out for help from inside. She steels herself, gripping the door handle tightly, determined to intervene despite the terror gripping her. The woman confronts the monstrous figure, accusing it of betrayal and demanding to know why it's trying to escape. The creature, desperate and defiant, brandishes a large cleaver, warning her to leave it behind. Despite its threats, the woman firmly grabs its arm, refusing to abandon it in its pitiful state. Her wide eyes reflect a mix of shock and determination as she grips the cleaver tightly. Suddenly, a swift movement catches her off guard, and the blade slips, striking her with a splash of blood. Despite the pain, her intense gaze remains locked on the moment, unyielding. Blood drips heavily from the severed limb, pooling on the floor as the woman collapses in shock and pain. Her anguished cries echo through the room, eyes wide with a mix of fear and disbelief. Despite the agony, a flicker of recognition crosses her gaze, as the chilling reality of the situation sinks in. Amidst softly falling snow, a small child reaches out, calling for her mother with a fragile hope. Her trembling hand clutches tightly as she apologizes quietly, the cold night wrapping around her like a shroud. The quiet desperation in her eyes speaks volumes, searching for comfort in the silent, snowy street. The child calls out softly to her mother, explaining that she must go somewhere she can't take her along. She asks her to wait there, her voice barely audible over the falling snow. Despite the cold and uncertainty, the child nods quietly, their small hand reaching out to hold hers in a fragile promise. The child stands alone in the falling snow, her breath visible in the cold air, as she quietly accepts the painful truth. No matter how long she waits, her mother will never return. The harsh reality settles in, severing the fragile bond between them forever. The boy suddenly leans in, eagerly asking if the story will continue. His lively energy contrasts with the girl's quiet surprise, as she watches him with a mix of curiosity and hesitation. Their playful exchange breaks the tension, hinting at a budding connection between them. A sudden voice breaks through the quiet, prompting her to look up with a mix of confusion and caution. She asks softly, "Who is it?" Her guarded curiosity hints at the uncertainty that still lingers around her. The boy leans in with a knowing smile, pointing directly at the girl as he reveals a startling truth. A vampire has entered her body. His words hang heavy in the air, warning that if nothing changes, both of them are doomed to perish. The girl's wide eyes reflect the shock and fear of this grim revelation. The girl shrugs off the boy's warning with a cold indifference, but his intense gaze reveals his unwavering seriousness. Around her, shadowy figures whisper cruel rumors, calling her a loser, questioning if she has any friends, and mocking her appearance. The harsh voices reveal a painful truth. She was abandoned by her own parents. Despite the cruelty she faces, from being ignored, insulted, and even having things thrown at her, the girl remains outwardly unaffected, insisting she's not sad, but inside, the pain of loneliness and rejection cuts deep, and her quiet plea reveals a desperate hope to be seen and remembered, even in isolation. The ache of solitude lingers, a silent sorrow she cannot escape. Her trembling voice breaks through the cold silence. "Don't leave me behind." Suddenly, a coin clatters to the ground, and without hesitation, she lunges forward, gripping the boy's face with desperate urgency. The boy's frustration boils over as he lashes out, demanding the girl to speak up and show some willpower. His harsh words cut deep, insisting that if she's willing to die, she should at least have the strength to kill others too. Despite the cruelty, the girl curls inward, silently acknowledging the painful truth he's shouting. Tears streaming down her face, she cries out in anguish, confessing how much she hates the person she has become and desperately wishes to change. Her raw vulnerability breaks through as she pleads to be allowed to become whoever she wants to be. The boy's stunned expression reveals the unexpected weight of her heartfelt confession. The boy leans back with a smirk, amused by the girl's desperate struggle and raw emotion. His casual laughter cuts through the tension, mocking her pain as she clings to the hope of change. The girl, still trembling, looks up at him with a mix of confusion and determination, bracing herself for what comes next. With a confident smile, he leans in close and declares that he will change her, despite her surprise and unease at his proximity. He demands her living blood in exchange for this transformation, hinting at a deeper, possibly supernatural connection between them. Her voice soft yet resolute, she agrees to the transformation, no matter the cost. As the eerie ritual begins, the unsettling sounds of cracking and squelching fill the air, signaling the start of a dark, irreversible pact. The scene shifts to the boy, now unconscious, caught in the throes of a strange and painful metamorphosis. With a twisted smile and a gleam of triumph in her eyes, she declares the ritual complete. The transformation's eerie aftermath lingers in the air as her clawed hand reaches forward, sealing the dark pact that has just been forged. Suddenly, a fierce blow crashes down, sending the boy hurtling backward with brutal force. His body slams against the floor, the impact echoing through the room. Nearby, a shocked figure stumbles, struggling to comprehend the violent intrusion. The girl, her horns casting eerie shadows, smirks with a twisted charm as she taunts the boy, reminding him of the self-introduction he just made. Her unsettling confidence fills the room, hinting at a deeper, darker game unfolding between them. The boy is paralyzed with terror, unable to move or even cry out as a grotesque, monstrous figure lunges at him. Panic surges through him, his mind screaming, "What is this?" While the girl's grip tightens mercilessly, her expression twisted with frightening delight. The helplessness and fear consume him as the nightmare closes in. The monstrous figure violently slams the boy down, its grotesque form shaking the room with brutal force. Amidst the chaos, a chilling voice whispers of losing oneself, as if identity is slipping away. The girl stands calmly in the wreckage, questioning if this is truly the end. The girl, now alone, lets out a weary sigh as the monstrous presence fades away, leaving only its twitching tail behind. She mutters, "Boring," her expression drained, as the unsettling atmosphere lingers, despite the calm. A flicker of unease remains, hinting that the nightmare may not be truly over. With a fierce glare and a clenched fist, the girl warns that things won't get any more dangerous than this. Her words carry a heavy weight, hinting that what's to come will shatter any lingering hopes. A faint clatter echoes as her body moves by her own will, sparking a glimmer of relief. She recalls that day in the snow, feeling as if her true self, lost alongside Yuki, might finally be found. With a quiet resolve, she offers a tentative greeting to the human world she's re-entering. A faint, fragile smile breaks through her weary expression as she softly replies, "Yeah." In this quiet moment, a flicker of warmth and hope shines through the darkness surrounding her. Despite the fragile calm, her body suddenly betrays her, trembling uncontrollably as exhaustion takes hold. She struggles to stay upright but collapses to the ground, the weight of her ordeal finally overwhelming her. The faint glimmer of hope flickers as she succumbs, leaving her fate uncertain. With a weary sigh, the man with the braided hair crouches beside her fallen form, quietly acknowledging his success in capturing one alive. Despite the grim surroundings, he longs for nothing more than to return home quickly, leaving the fate of the girl bound to the vampire uncertain. Since long ago, the protagonist has found themselves unconsciously drawn to smiles. Whether from parents, lovers, or friends sharing laughter, determined, a voice declares, "Then I'll change you," as the girl wonders if she will ever be able to smile too. Bound and vulnerable, the girl awakens under harsh lights, her body trembling with exhaustion. From the depths of her bleak reality, she has now forged a pact with a vampire. An irreversible step that will change everything. As she slowly opens her eyes, confusion and fear grip her, sensing the unknown fate that lies ahead. Confusion floods her mind as she takes in the sterile room filled with strange jars and surgical tools. Her body still bound and vulnerable on the cold table, panic rises. Where is she? What has been done to her? The sharp memory of a blade piercing her neck haunts her thoughts as she struggles to piece together the terrifying reality. A man with dark glasses cheerfully greets her with a casual good morning. Despite the tense atmosphere, his laid-back attitude contrasts sharply with the fear and confusion still gripping her as she tries to understand where she is and what's happening. The presence of others in the room hints at a strange and unsettling situation unfolding around her. Realization dawns on her as she pieces together the horrifying truth. This is no hospital, but an experimental facility. Panic surges when she hears the doctors casually discussing blood draws and dissections. Confirming her worst fears, bound and helpless, she desperately pleads for her life as a syringe looms ominously overhead. The girl, calm yet determined, explains that she's been searching for her father since early morning. The man in sunglasses greets her cheerfully, though he admits her father hasn't come by yet. Their casual conversation contrasts with the underlying tension of the situation. Relief washes over the captive as she hears she's been saved, but her captors are stunned by the sudden appearance of a stunning woman. The man reveals they caught her last night, a vampire in human form, and wonders if anyone has ever seen one like her before. The mysterious woman steps forward, drawing their full attention. With fierce determination, the mysterious woman lunges forward, declaring her intent to kill. The captive's eyes widen in shock as the sudden attack catches everyone off guard. The man suddenly raises his hand, commanding everyone to stop. The tension spikes as he calls out the true nature of their captive. A vampire, the enemy of humanity who feeds on the blood of the living. The atmosphere grows heavy with fear and disbelief as the revelation sinks in. The man explains that their job in the anti-vampire unit isn't just to kill vampires, but to capture, experiment on, and research them in order to ultimately defeat them. He warns against being too rigid in thinking, saying the mind should be soft like fresh bread. Meanwhile, the captive nervously swallows as she questions if she's really that dangerous, while a woman calmly tells someone to let her go. The man, now confident and relaxed, suggests putting the captive to the test to see if she will truly be useful in the future. The woman listens intently, while others in the room react with surprise and curiosity. Meanwhile, the captive remains restrained, her expression a mix of uncertainty and resignation. The captive, now alone in a dense forest, looks around nervously as she hears faint rustling nearby. Confused and wary, she questions what kind of test she is about to face. The quiet, ominous woods surround her, heightening her uncertainty. A tense conversation unfolds as one character insists on confirming something important, prompting a shocked reaction from another. Meanwhile, a casual remark about searching for someone's father adds to the confusion. The scene shifts to a quiet, overgrown area, hinting at deeper mysteries tied to the idea of father. Alone in the forest, the captive is suddenly confronted by a grotesque, monstrous creature with a single glaring eye and writhing tentacles. The eerie encounter leaves her frozen, caught between fear and confusion as the strange being looms over her. The captive desperately struggles, reaching out as the monstrous creature drags her across the ground. Her body battered and in pain, she cries out for help, panic rising as she realizes she's utterly alone. Meanwhile, a calm, ominous figure watches, asking coldly what she intends to do next. The monstrous creature forcefully pulls the captive's eye from its socket, blood spurting as it cruelly mocks her for finally waking up. Despite the horror, the girl lets out a tired yawn, caught between agony and exhaustion. The wounded, horned figure snarls with a twisted grin, warning that no one should dare challenge him. Nearby, a calm man with sunglasses smirks knowingly, hinting that the real ordeal is only just beginning. Meanwhile, dark blood drips steadily onto the ground, staining the earth beneath them. The girl stands alone in a dense forest, leaning against a tree as she surveys her surroundings. The quiet atmosphere contrasts sharply with the tension still lingering from the recent violence. She calls out, seeking answers about the strange and dire situation she now faces. After waking up bound and helpless, the girl recalls how they were dissected and had their blood drawn. Frustrated and confused, she lashes out at the one responsible, demanding answers. Suddenly, she notices something strange and rushes off, desperate to understand what's really happening. The girl leaps fiercely toward the man with sunglasses, shouting that there's a person over there. The man, surprised, confronts her directly, demanding to know if she's the one who put him to sleep. Suddenly, the girl's monstrous form lunges forward with a terrifying roar, ready to strike. Just as the monstrous girl lunges to attack, the man swiftly dodges with a calm, precise movement. The girl's expression shifts to shock and disbelief as he taunts her, realizing he has completely taken control of the situation. As the monstrous girl struggles uncontrollably, she screams in disbelief that her own body won't obey her commands. The man watches calmly, revealing that he's inside her, which explains why she can't stop. Panic flashes across the scientist's face as he calls out to Kobayashi, realizing the gravity of the situation. With a sharp, decisive motion, the man rips a sharp object free from the girl's flesh. The girl's expression flickers with surprise as he effortlessly hurls her away with immense force. Watching calmly, the man assesses the situation, while the girl is sent flying through the air, powerless to resist. The girl, bruised and battered, stumbles through the forest, glaring fiercely as she curses the man who threw her. Despite the chaos, nothing about the situation has changed. Her resolve remains unbroken as she searches desperately for him. Exhausted and tense, the girl perches on a tree branch, glaring down at the strange creature below. Her grip tightens on the branch as she mutters a curse, labeling the creature a demon that attacks humans. Without hesitation, she leaps onto the creature, ready to confront it head-on. The girl's body convulses violently, blood splattering as she struggles in agony. She clutches her head, desperately denying that this broken, tormented form is truly herself. Despite the pain, a fierce determination burns within her. This is not who she really is. The girl, desperate and frustrated, reaches out toward the creature on the branch, shouting that nothing ever changes. Meanwhile, a confident figure vows to change everything about her and her past self, determined to rewrite her fate. Nearby, a man watches anxiously, promising to return again. The creature suddenly bursts through the window with a powerful leap, crashing into the outside world. Two onlookers react in shock as the creature scurries away into the bushes. The gate swings open, drawing the attention of a group nearby, who wonder aloud what just happened. The girl, horns gleaming, swiftly dodges a sudden attack from a monstrous creature. Her movements sharp and reactive, she narrowly escapes its grasp, but the beast lunges again with a terrifying roar, closing the distance with deadly intent. The monstrous creature relentlessly pursues the girl, its clawed hand gripping the tree as it lunges forward. She braces herself against a large, jagged surface, preparing for the next attack. Meanwhile, a man urgently warns that the danger is approaching again, while the girl, bruised and determined, readies herself for the fight ahead. The girl launches herself into a fierce attack, her fist raised high as she aims at the man with the scarred face. He barely manages to react in time, his expression a mix of shock and pain. Another figure watches silently, while a desperate voice calls out, "Former master!" as the tension escalates. The girl, wild-eyed and fierce, charges forward with a weapon raised, her body battered but fueled by raw determination. Her horns and disheveled hair add to her feral intensity as she lunges toward the man walking away calmly, unaware of the impending strike. The tension between them crackles in the air, the fight far from over. The girl's fierce strike lands with brutal force, piercing through the grotesque creature's head. Blood and dark liquid explode outward as the monster reels from the devastating blow, its body limp and defeated. The intensity of the attack leaves no doubt. The battle has taken a deadly turn. Exhausted and battered, the girl collapses to the ground, whispering that she made it just in time. Meanwhile, a tense voice acknowledges her strength, urging calm as the heavy doors close behind her, sealing her inside. As the tension breaks, an older man laughs heartily while a nervous figure points a cross-shaped device, preparing to control any vampires they encounter. The girl, still battered and wary, quietly reveals her name, Shurno Mabachi, her gaze steady despite everything. The older man addresses the girl by name, inviting her to join the anti-vampire squad. Though surprised and weary, she listens as he introduces himself as Genji Mimura, the current leader of the squad, extending a formal request for her to represent their team. Shurno, still bruised and uncertain, quietly asks what her future holds now. A confident voice reminds her that her squad is short-handed and relies on her strength. As she steels herself, a dark figure growls in frustration nearby, underscoring the tense atmosphere. Frustration boils over as the strange, many-eyed creature vents its anger, cursing its own restraint. Despite its fury, it remains trapped, struggling against invisible bonds. The tension peaks as it lashes out violently, determined to break free no matter the cost. Suddenly, the small creature speaks with a sharp tone, claiming it was supposed to take control of her all along. The girl recoils in shock, recognizing the voice and attitude as unmistakably that of the vampire. Her fear deepens as the chilling realization sinks in. A calm young man introduces himself as Fushimizu. Catching the girl off guard, she hesitates, unsure if she can trust him, but recalls he kindly gave her bread earlier, which softens her doubts. Suddenly, he questions the strange cat beside him, demanding to know what it really is. Fushimizu deduces that the cat is a contracted vampire, explaining the strange scent blending human and vampire traits. The girl, weakened and apologetic, tries to steady herself, while the cat playfully nuzzles Fushimizu, who seems both intrigued and slightly overwhelmed by the creature's strength and behavior. The girl, exhausted and shivering, quietly explains she feels cold despite having been so restless just moments ago. The cat, curious and lighthearted, asks if from now on Fushimizu will be considered family, to which he responds warmly, inviting them to call him Papa. As they enter a room, the girl nervously wonders what their future holds with Fushimizu. As the morning sun streams brightly through the trees, the girl clings weakly to Fushimizu, shielding her eyes from the dazzling light. He gently asks if she wants to eat something, and the cat's curious gaze follows a fluttering butterfly nearby, quietly suggesting bread. The girl, still fragile, softly responds, wondering if there's anything she truly wants to eat. Still weak but determined, the girl quietly expresses her desire to eat bread. The protagonist smiles warmly, agreeing to get her the bread she wants. As they stand together outside, the cat reflects on the strange new reality they all share, realizing this is no ordinary creature but a living vampire. The car pulls away from the headquarters of the anti-vampire unit, leaving behind the quiet building and trees. Inside, the girl grows impatient, complaining about the long bathroom break. While the driver apologizes for getting lost but promises they found something good, she looks curious and hopeful about what awaits them next. The elderly man sits quietly in the car, his expression calm yet thoughtful as they continue their journey. Meanwhile, the girl rests peacefully, her face softened by sleep, clutching a blanket close. Outside, the cat walks ahead, unaware of the complex world of humans and vampires they are about to enter. Despite being recognized for her abilities and expected to join the elite vampire squad, she finds herself nervously working in a cafe instead. Conflicted and embarrassed, she tries to muster the courage to greet customers more warmly, questioning how she ended up in this situation. Meanwhile, the man with sunglasses watches her with a teasing smile, pointing out she needs to put more heart into it. 1 hour earlier, the story reveals the building's layout. The first floor houses the Café Momiji, while the second floor serves as the headquarters for the Vampire Squad's second division. As the girl processes this, she nervously asks if her job is really on the second floor, while the man with sunglasses casually introduces himself as both the squad leader and cafe manager. The man with sunglasses laughs as he holds up a frilly apron, cheerfully explaining that she'll also be helping out in the cafe. Meanwhile, the girl sits quietly at a table, still trying to grasp the full scope of her unexpected duties. The atmosphere is light, but the reality of her new role is sinking in. A new arrival catches everyone's attention, prompting the girl to wonder who it is. The woman introduces herself with a confident smile as Misaki Arasaki, the deputy leader and hall leader of the Vampire Squad's second division. The deputy leader beams warmly, calling the girl cute and curious about what kind of person would make a contract with a vampire. The girl shyly returns the greeting, clearly flustered but trying to be polite. With a cheerful fist pump, The deputy leader encourages everyone to do their best as the hall training is about to begin. As the girl rushes to serve drinks, her nervous energy is palpable, but she's determined to do her best. Around her, the cafe buzzes with activity. Colleagues chat warmly. A small commotion unfolds with a disgruntled cat, and a man scolds the feline for causing trouble, despite the chaos. The girl keeps pushing forward, eager to prove herself in this new environment. The girl beams with quiet pride as she receives praise for her quick learning, her cheeks flushed with happiness. The deputy leader gently picks up the restless cat, signaling it's time to move on. With a warm smile, she announces they're heading to the final stage of training, ready to take the next step together. As night falls, two figures walk quietly down a residential street, the streetlight casting a soft glow above them. One calls out to their mother, asking about dinner, while the other reflects on their first day, admitting it was tougher than expected but not overwhelmingly so. The calm evening contrasts with their thoughtful conversation, hinting at challenges yet to come. As they walk, the girl explains that the school keeps information discreet to avoid causing panic, but still ensures students learn essential safety measures. Meanwhile, the cat looks up, puzzled, wondering why it's even involved in this conversation about vampires. The girl then softly begins to mention a mysterious phrase, hinting at something ominous to come. The girl quietly warns not to return home alone once the demons appear, a serious tone contrasting with the other's casual agreement. They continue walking through the quiet neighborhood, passing a small public restroom, until they finally reach an empty, secluded area. The girl announces they've arrived at the site of their final training. The cat stubbornly refuses, clearly upset about something. The girl tries to explain that she just wants to see the form after merging with the vampire, but the cat remains adamant. Meanwhile, the other girl nervously asks for the cat's cooperation, hinting at some kind of training or test ahead. The girl's eyes widen in surprise as she exclaims loudly, clearly impressed by what she's seeing. The boy, blushing and a bit flustered, insists that he's the one who's cool, not just his horns. The girl leans in eagerly, asking if his body has changed after merging with the vampire. He explains that his body feels lighter, he can jump higher, and his injuries heal faster, showing signs of newfound strength. The girl confidently declares they'll take down the vampires without mercy, her excitement shining through. She recalls a recent moment when she was too scared to move, asking if they can really defeat the enemies this time. The boy, nervously smiling, questions their chances but seems determined to try. She reassures him that it's natural to be scared at first, but that fear can fuel the strength to protect what matters most. When asked what she wants to protect, she quietly reflects on family, loved ones, friends, and the everyday life she never wants to lose. The girl reveals she joined the squad to protect her younger brother, admitting that love can even numb fear. The boy reflects quietly on what it means to have something worth protecting, suddenly noticing the time. He insists they need to head home, while the girl teases him about his strong brotherly feelings. Outside, they spot a couple kissing as they walk, prompting a playful reaction from the girl who urges him to keep it PG at home. Suddenly, a strange creature with a mask-like face appears, startling the girl. She stammers in disbelief, questioning if it's really a vampire. The eerie figure's presence sends a chill through the scene, heightening the tension. The girl, trying to stay calm, questions why the strange figure is lurking in such a place, her voice tinged with unease. The boy beside her looks visibly shaken, sweat dripping down his face as tension mounts. The creature suddenly lunges, catching the girl off guard as she stumbles back in shock. Her wide eyes reveal a mix of fear and confusion, while a voice calls out to her, asking what's wrong. In a flashback, a smiling child offers a beaded necklace, wishing her a happy birthday, a stark contrast to the tense moment unfolding now. With a calm yet steely gaze, she raises her gun and fires relentlessly, her voice cold as she warns the creature that it will regret this in hell. The bullets strike true, tearing through the eerie figure's form as it staggers under the assault. Unfazed, she continues shooting with unwavering precision, determined to end the threat. The creature collapses to the ground, defeated, while the boy trembles in awe, whispering about how incredible the woman is. Nearby, grotesque figures exchange eerie, slithering tongues, questioning if her personality has changed. The girl watches cautiously, her expression sharp, as unsettling sounds echo around her. The creature suddenly splits into two identical forms, startling the woman as she watches them carefully. Nearby, a young girl nervously tries to get someone's attention, while the creature's wounds stubbornly refuse to heal, signaling trouble ahead. The girl explains that the creature split into two bodies sharing the same core, which is like a human heart and brain combined. She warns that defeating just one won't kill it, Both must be taken down simultaneously. The boy realizes that his previous victory was a lucky break when he accidentally destroyed the core. The girl urgently calls out that both cores must be destroyed at the same time to defeat the creature. Catching the woman's attention, as the woman swiftly counters an attack, the boy nervously checks his weapon. Only to find it's out of ammo. Concerned, he notes that both the woman and another ally are acting strangely, and they can't reach the ally by phone or even find their way home. The girl challenges the boy, asking if he will fight, teasing him about being scared. The boy recalls their past, insisting they can make guns out of blood like before and kill many more enemies. Despite his uncertainty, he resolves to create weapons and fight, though a sudden jolt of fear shakes him as he worries about accidentally killing the woman too. The eerie laughter echoes from the direction of the house, catching the boy's attention as he freezes in place. Suddenly, a strange figure darts away, responding to the sound and heading toward the house. The boy, shaken, wonders if this is something worth protecting, his mind racing as the unsettling scene unfolds. The girl's words echo in his mind, reminding him of the precious connections he doesn't want to lose. Family, lovers, friends. As his gaze sharpens, the weight of protecting even the smallest part of everyday life settles heavily on him. Outside, the quiet house stands as a fragile symbol of all he's determined to defend. The boy grimaces in pain as a sharp fishbone pierces his arm, blood dripping down his sleeve. Despite the injury, he quickly readies his weapon, the barrel spinning with intensity. His focus sharpens as he fires, determined to land a hit and prove his resolve in this desperate fight. With a fierce shout, the boy takes aim and fires, striking the grotesque creature squarely in the head. Despite the pain and tension, he steadies himself, knowing that at this distance, he has a real chance to turn the tide. His resolve hardens as the battle intensifies. His shot misses, and panic flashes across his face as the creature closes in. Just as hope seems to fade, a swift figure bursts into the scene, launching a powerful attack that forces the enemy back. The boy's grip tightens on his weapon, a flicker of determination returning despite the growing danger. A calm, determined figure steps in, guiding the boy's aim with steady hands. She assures him that they will send their enemies straight to hell, instilling a renewed sense of purpose as they prepare to strike together. With a fierce thrust, the calm figure pierces the grotesque creature, sending it crashing down. The boy, now relieved, hears the reassuring words that their vengeance is secured. A joyful spirit appears, and the girl celebrates the return of her beloved little brother. The girl notices the blue sheet and wonders if something happened. The boy apologizes, explaining that his little brother sometimes loses his composure when he gets involved. Suddenly, the girl finds a necklace inside the creature's mouth, and on the ring, she sees the name, Arasaki. After a brief moment, they decide to leave first, with the boy thanking her quietly. As night falls over the quiet neighborhood, the two quietly ascend the stairs, their footsteps echoing softly. Suddenly, the door clicks open, catching one of them by surprise. They step inside to be greeted warmly by familiar faces, who tease them with laughter and casual questions about where they've been. Back inside, the group exchanges lighthearted teasing and checks in on each other's well-being. One of them reminds the protagonist to submit a report by the end of the day, while quietly welcoming her back. As she stands by the window, the quiet atmosphere settles in, and the boy quietly announces his return. The group gathers around the table, warmly saying itadikamasu before beginning their meal. One of them quietly mentions that the food is delicious because he made it himself. As they eat, the protagonist reflects on whether that family also shared meals like this, feeling a quiet connection. The protagonist quietly wonders if she managed to protect a part of everyday life, someone's family, lover, or friends, that she doesn't want to lose. As she eats, a gentle smile spreads across her face, and she softly says, "Delicious." The cat, feeling triumphant, boasts that it once again outsmarted the protagonist. Suddenly, it lunges forward, biting her foot, causing her to cry out in pain. The quiet night scene contrasts with the unexpected commotion inside, while a phone lies on the floor, displaying messages about a report submission. Late at night, the protagonist sits alone, reading a detailed report on vampire attacks. She quietly mutters that humans can't become vampires, warning that if such information became public, it would cause serious trouble. With resolve, she presses a key, preparing for what comes next. The next mission lies just beyond the ominous tunnel, marked by a warning sign forbidding entry to unauthorized personnel. Under the night sky, the moon casts an eerie glow over the abandoned railway leading into darkness. The tension builds as our heroes steel themselves for what awaits inside. Fear grips her as she trembles uncontrollably, convinced that something must be lurking inside the pitch-black tunnel. The darkness swallows any hope of seeing what lies ahead, and her mind races with disbelief at the thought of entering such a place. Suddenly, a rustling noise from the nearby bushes snaps her attention, sending a chill down her spine. Relieved, she realizes the unsettling noise was just a bird, letting out a breath she didn't know she was holding. But her moment of calm is shattered when a mysterious figure suddenly appears at the tunnel's entrance, catching her completely off guard. The tension spikes as the unknown presence speaks, signaling that the real challenge is about to begin. The mysterious figure reveals that 4 people who went to the haunted spot together have gone missing, including a girl who never returned after saying she was going there. They mention an investigation into whether vampires might be involved, but the girl nervously speculates it could be ghosts instead. She then turns to the strange creature beside her, asking if it thinks the same, while the protagonist watches silently, clearly unsettled. The girl nervously suggests that if so many people have gone missing, the police must already be investigating, as the flashlight beam cuts through the darkness. A sudden rustling noise startles them. The strange creature reassures her that it's just bugs, not ghosts, but the girl's unease deepens as she asks if the protagonist knows about the 3 rumors. Suddenly, a drop of red liquid falls from the ceiling, startling everyone. The girl screams in terror, recognizing it as blood, and the strange creature identifies it as a vampire. Without warning, the vampire attacks, spewing a torrent of blood that drenches the girl, who screams in horror as the protagonist stands ready nearby. The girl suddenly screams in terror, overwhelmed by the vampire's blood attack. While the protagonist stands alert nearby, the strange creature reacts with surprise, recognizing the vampire's return. The tension escalates as the girl struggles to comprehend the horrifying scene unfolding before her. The protagonist calmly probes the eerie situation, wondering if someone has settled here without leaving any trace while testing their courage. Meanwhile, the girl, soaked in blood, nervously explains that she just started wearing this uniform after joining the team a year ago. The strange creature apologizes and promises to order a new one, while the girl looks around anxiously in the empty tunnel. The protagonist questions the strange cat-like creature about the name, Satu, it keeps mentioning, but the creature angrily insists it's not a cat, but a vampire. The girl excitedly explains that the creature's name is Satu because it loves sugar, matching both the name and its pure white color. Satu, annoyed by the lame name, bites the girl in protest, while she laments being ignored and rejected by the creature. The protagonist identifies a third strange phenomenon. A tunnel that, once entered, traps anyone inside with no way out. The girl nervously confirms the tunnel's inescapable nature, while the group's tension rises as they realize this eerie place may hold even darker secrets. Suddenly, a mysterious noise near their feet sparks alarm, leaving them questioning if something else, perhaps a ghost, is lurking nearby. A chilling figure with a twisted smile emerges from the darkness, its eerie presence sending a shiver down the spine. The girl, clutching a glowing object, stares wide-eyed in terror as the sinister apparition looms closer. From the depths of the forbidding tunnel, a blood-curdling scream pierces the silence, hinting at the horrors that lie within. The girl nervously apologizes, clearly unsettled by the eerie atmosphere, while the boy calmly introduces himself as Fushimizu and the girl as Shinano Mabachi, members of the mysterious Three-Eyed Cat group. Suddenly, the peculiar Three-Eyed Cat character voices disdain for the name, Satu, calling it lame, before a hand abruptly covers its mouth, silencing it. The boy casually introduces himself as Satu, but the Three-Eyed Cat immediately scolds him to keep that name a secret from anyone outside their group. Meanwhile, the girl nervously reveals her name as Akari Saitu when asked if she's a student and why she's alone here. The girl anxiously recounts how a sudden voice vanished while she and another girl in a sailor uniform were walking together. She desperately asks if anyone has seen the missing girl, her worry growing as the eerie silence deepens around them. The boy admits he hasn't seen the missing girl either, but suggests that since no one else has encountered her, she might have gone outside ahead. He proposes they step outside to search, and the girl agrees hesitantly, offering reassurance. He promises they'll help look for Hana-chan together, surprising her with his support. The boy and girl discuss the strange disappearance of Hana, with the girl whispering about the unsettling possibility of a vampire being involved. The boy, calm and collected, questions why a cat would be involved and admits he's not a dog, hinting at a deeper mystery as the Three-Eyed Cat quietly approaches. The boy calmly explains that this place is swarming with vampires, the air thick with a scent as if they were surrounded by them. He points out that if so many people were missing, the police would surely be investigating, which he claims they already are. The girl listens intently, conflicted but intrigued by his words. The tunnel lies empty and silent, a chilling reminder that not a single person has returned. The girl swallows hard, overwhelmed by the grim reality. Suddenly, the three-eyed cat calls out sharply, breaking the tense silence as the girl pleads for quiet, her fear barely contained. The girl stands frozen, clutching her phone as eerie tendrils swirl around her, embodying the creeping dread that tightens its grip. Her wide eyes reflect a mix of fear and uncertainty. Caught in the unsettling silence that surrounds them, the shadowed figure nearby watches silently, adding to the oppressive tension in the air. Suddenly, the girl is yanked backward by the hair, her body jerking in shock. She gasps, startled. As her foot slips against the cold, cracked ground, the three-eyed cat hisses sharply in warning, its claws digging into her arm as the eerie tendrils tighten their grip. The girl rushes over, apologizing anxiously as she finds the boy sitting on the ground. She checks if he's hurt, her worry evident, but he reassures her he's fine, still shaken. She asks what exactly happened, her eyes wide with concern. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to a dark tunnel, hinting at the mysterious fate of Shinonome and the three-eyed cat. The girl notes that the presence has disappeared. Hoping that Satu is safe since he was with them, she decides to check around briefly. But before she can move, a firm hand grabs her wrist. The figure asks if she can forget everything she's about to see and hear from now on, addressing her by name as they stand near the ominous tunnel entrance. The girl struggles as the eerie tendrils tighten around her, while the three-eyed cat urgently demands she be freed. Despite her fear and pain, she insists she's trying to break free, but the cat scolds her for not putting in enough effort. Suddenly, the cat lunges forward, grabbing her to pull her away from the grasping tendrils. The cat swiftly pulls the girl free from the grasping tendrils, landing her safely on the ground. She winces in pain, realizing she's been dragged deep into the tunnel. The cat urges her to stand quickly, insisting they must get out of there immediately. The girl thanks the cat for saving her, but he insists it wasn't for her sake. He just can't afford to die himself. When she asks if their contract was about possession, he coldly denies any intention of forming a bond and warns her never to speak to him again. The cat also laments the darkness, wishing they had a light as they stand near the tunnel's ominous entrance. The girl explains that she doesn't want to be friends. She simply wants to understand others. She wonders what kind of world they live in, what they've seen, and how they've survived. Meanwhile, the cat looks on, confused and skeptical about her words. She quietly insists she wants to use Satu's strength for her own sake, not out of friendship. Despite the cat's dismissal, she reflects that just because they're both vampires doesn't mean they're allies. If someone's a threat, they'll be dealt with without hesitation. The girl calls out to Satu, panic rising as she realizes she's trapped alone in total darkness. Unable to see anything, fear grips her as she wonders if this is the infamous place no one can escape from. Suddenly, a bright light blinds her, forcing her to shield her eyes in shock. She stands alone in a long, dark tunnel, the walls curving overhead as eerie light panels flicker faintly on either side. A chill runs through her as she questions where she is, the silence pressing in like a trap. The unsettling emptiness deepens her fear. What kind of place is this? As tension rises, one figure coldly suggests erasing all memories of what's about to unfold. The girl, confused and uneasy, questions the meaning behind this and whether they've both been exposed. Suddenly, a shadowy figure steps forward, ominously declaring they'll be the one to kill the two of them. As the tension thickens, the girl suddenly senses someone behind her, a hand reaching out to grab her shoulder. Her eyes widen in shock and confusion, caught off guard in the eerie forest of twisted branches. With swift, brutal force, the shadowy figure strikes, sending both the girl and another woman reeling backwards. The attacker crouches low, a cruel smile playing on their lips as they taunt their fallen opponents. The eerie forest around them growing silent once more. Two figures lock eyes with sharp intensity, each gripping their weapon with a confident, almost playful smirk, ready to clash in a deadly duel. The tension between them crackles like electricity, promising a fierce and unyielding battle ahead. Suddenly, an unknown figure ambushes them from the shadows, catching everyone off guard. The protagonist tightens their grip on their weapon, eyes sharp with suspicion. The mysterious man calmly warns, "You'll die slowly," as tension thickens in the dark forest. The ominous cave looms ahead, a trap that, once entered, offers no return. The protagonist questions if being sealed inside is even possible, while the mysterious figure smirks, revealing humans are fragile and flawed, easy prey in this deadly game. Trapped in a strange, windowed room, a peculiar cat remarks that no matter how far one walks, there's no exit to be found. It grumbles about someone who always disappears without notice, as flickering images play on screens, showing jumbled memories of humans. the unsettling atmosphere grows heavier, hinting that something is about to stir. The peculiar cat's eyes widen in shock as it realizes the terrifying truth. Vanished human memories. It explains that this tunnel, rumored to trap anyone who enters forever, is itself a vampire. Consuming those sealed inside from within, the cat curses the vampire, revealing the tunnel's insidious nature of imprisoning and devouring humans alive. The cat taunts the tunnel, calling it a cunning, lowly bloodsucker doomed to be crushed by the merging forces. As a hand reaches through the bars, the cat questions if this is the fading memory of someone lost. It tries to distract with playful words, but the hand's slow approach hints at a deeper connection to the trapped creature behind the bars. The girl wanders through a dim, empty space, calling out for Satu with a growing sense of confusion and unease. Suddenly, a vivid memory flickers before her eyes. A peaceful scene of two people sharing a quiet moment in a kitchen. Drawn to it, she reaches out tentatively toward the glowing image, captivated by the warmth it radiates. Suddenly, she blinks and finds herself sitting on a couch in a familiar, cozy living room. Confused, she realizes this must be the same house from the memory, but her disoriented gaze reveals she doesn't recognize the people around her. As a woman warns her not to catch a cold sleeping there, the girl's trembling voice asks, "Who are you?" Laughter fills the kitchen as the man and woman share a light-hearted moment. Outside, the bright sun shines, but inside, confusion clouds the girl's mind as she questions why she's there and whether she's always lived in this house. The woman gently urges her to rest, bidding her good night, while the girl hesitantly echoes the farewell, still grappling with her uncertain place in this familiar yet strange home. A strange three-eyed cat appears, prompting a surprised woman to laugh and ask what it's doing. The cat suddenly bolts toward a bright doorway, urged to come out quickly by an unseen voice. The three-eyed cat darts toward a bright doorway, seemingly pulled inside by an unseen force. A cheerful girl calls out to it, urging the cat to come out quickly. She scoops up the strange creature, excitedly showing it off to her mother, who laughs and insists it's not just an ordinary cat. The woman coos over the adorable cat, while the three-eyed feline, frustrated, wonders who the old lady is and questions if anyone can hear its voice. Meanwhile, the girl, completely enchanted, hugs the cat tightly, lost in a dreamy world as the cat struggles to break free, shouting for it to wake up and get out quickly. The woman gently reassures the cat, telling it everything will be all right. Suddenly remembering the time, the girl starts to rush off, but the woman stops her, saying she doesn't need to go to school. The girl, confused, asks why, as the woman explains that the outside world is full of cruel people who would hurt her, and here she can be happy and safe forever. The girl cheerfully declares she wants to be happy forever, though the cat worries if she's really okay. The peaceful night sky contrasts with the tension as the cat contemplates what to do next. A phone screen shows two smiling girls, but the signal is out of range, leaving the cat feeling isolated and desperate to find someone named Hannah. The tension explodes as the protagonist swings a sword, demanding to know if the other person is the one who took Hannah. The other, seemingly unfazed, responds with confusion and denial, claiming ignorance about the whole situation. The clash between them intensifies, each bracing for the next move in this heated confrontation. The intense clash of swords fills the forest clearing as the two opponents fiercely exchange blows. The protagonist demands to know the stranger's identity. Suspicion sharp in his eyes. The other responds with a sly smile, questioning if the attack was part of the protagonist's own work, leaving the tension thick between them. The stranger reveals with a sly grin that humans can become vampires, deepening the mystery. The protagonist tightens his grip on his sword, ready for whatever comes next. Suddenly, the stranger launches a swift, powerful kick, forcing the hero to react instantly. The stranger taunts the protagonist, asking if he recognizes the name Kabaraji Kaoko, or if he's just forgetful like a bird with a three-step memory. With a sudden burst, the stranger charges forward, weapon raised, forcing the hero to prepare for the incoming attack. The stranger casually rests his massive weapon on his shoulder, exuding a chilling confidence. With a sly smile and a mocking gesture, he taunts the protagonist, declaring coldly that he is not human. The tension escalates as the eerie truth behind the stranger's identity hangs in the air. The scene shifts to a bright morning where a cheerful girl greets the day with a radiant smile. She calls out to her peculiar three-eyed cat, urging it to eat breakfast, but the cat seems distracted by the mention of school. With a carefree attitude, she tells the cat it's okay to skip school and play instead, her warmth filling the room as a quiet figure watches from the doorway. The girl cheerfully greets her three-eyed cat, urging it to eat breakfast, but the cat seems uninterested, expressing a desire for sugar instead. despite her warm coaxing and playful concern. The cat insists it's not really a cat, leaving her puzzled, as she tries to comfort it. The cat suddenly bites her hand, causing unexpected pain that she notices with surprise. As the clock nears noon, a gentle voice calls out that lunch is ready and asks for help tidying up. A warm smile spreads across the girl's face as she holds a book, softly reflecting on the happiness of simple moments spent cooking with her mother and playing with her father. Meanwhile, the quiet figure continues setting the table, asking what she'd like for breakfast tomorrow, creating a peaceful, everyday scene. The girl's name is revealed as Hannah, shown clearly on the book she holds. Suddenly, the three-eyed cat spots her outside and urgently calls out, warning that Hannah is out wandering alone. The scene shifts to a concerned girl in a school uniform shouting, "Hey!" as she notices the situation. The girl smiles warmly, gently teasing the three-eyed cat about dinner already being served. The cat looks a bit flustered but attentive as the peaceful afternoon continues. Outside, the sun shines brightly through the window, casting a calm glow over the quiet room. Inside the quiet room, the girl watches anxiously as Hannah stands outside the window, face turned away, confronted by the strange, unsettling creature. The tension builds as the mysterious entity looms close, while the three-eyed cat remains alert on the floor, sensing the danger. Desperately trying to open the door, the girl panics as it won't budge. She recalls the harsh reality outside, filled with dangerous people, and the desire to stay safe inside this home, despite her fear and frustration. She steels herself, determined to find the strength to go out and help. The girl urgently calls out for help, her voice trembling with desperation. The three-eyed cat leaps into her outstretched hand, responding to her silent plea, but a calm, distant voice warns her that she's already too late. With a sudden burst of determination, she throws the door open and rushes outside, her heart pounding, the warning echoes in her mind. It's already too late, despite the fear gripping her. She races forward, desperate to change the fate that seems sealed. The girl sprints forward, shouting desperately for Hannah to stop, her voice filled with urgency and fear. Meanwhile, Hannah faces cruel taunts and rejection from her classmates, their harsh words cutting deep, despite the pain. Hannah's expression reveals a quiet resolve, as she insists that no one will truly mourn her if she dies. With a sudden, firm gesture, the girl gently cups Hannah's face, forcing her to meet her gaze. She pleads quietly, reminding Hannah that despite the pain, there are still people who offer light and hope, even when it feels like no one cares. The weight of these words hangs heavy as Hannah listens, caught between despair and the faintest glimmer of connection. With tears welling up, Hannah's voice trembles as she insists it's still too early to give up, her resolve flickering through the pain. The weight of her words carries a fragile hope, challenging the darkness closing in around her. Her friend gently reminds her that despite everything, they've always been friends, and promises to come running if anything ever happens to her. The warmth of this reassurance catches Hannah off guard, leaving her wide-eyed and speechless. As the monstrous threat looms closer, the protagonist steadies herself, clutching her sword with a determined grip, despite the bruises and exhaustion. She admits that the fear now runs deeper than just the pain of wounds. With resolve hardening in her eyes, she prepares to face the danger head-on. Just as the tension peaks, a sudden strike sends an attacker flying, followed by a powerful explosion that shakes the forest. Amidst the chaos, the tunnel they relied on crumbles, leaving the protagonist stunned and desperate as the path collapses behind them. Relieved to see each other safe, the two share a heartfelt embrace, with one quietly apologizing and the other firmly vowing never to forgive the pain they've endured. The promise is made. No more running away, no more disappearing. Nearby, their injured friend watches on, a faint smile of relief breaking through the dirt and bruises. Exhausted and resigned, the man announces he's done for the day and is heading home. The protagonist tightens their grip on their sword, stunned and demanding an explanation. As the man smirks with a chilling promise to kill them if they meet again, the tension spikes and a bird suddenly takes flight nearby. The protagonist is stunned, questioning if the power to freely transform is that of a vampire. Suddenly, the man appears with a calm yet mysterious presence, prompting a shocked and confused reaction. As the girl calls out his name, he casually asks if she's seen his face before, while the strange cat denies recognizing him, deepening the mystery around his true identity. The strange cat reveals it's not really a cat, but someone named Satu. It questions where the protagonist was born and how they've lived, hinting at a deep connection. If the white cat from the protagonist's memories is linked to Satu, could understanding this figure help the protagonist understand themselves? The protagonist walks through a dimly lit corridor lined with mysterious tanks holding suspended figures. Calm yet weary, he remarks on the tunnel's failure and denies responsibility when questioned, despite the tension. He assures that next time, he'll lend a hand, though his frustration quietly surfaces as he warns not to cause trouble. After the intense battle in the spirit tunnel, the scene shifts to a quiet room where a woman smokes thoughtfully. She asks about Chiba's whereabouts. Learning he's chatting with Kobayashi and the others. Noticing a change, she comments on Fushimizu's new glasses, teasing him about the makeover. The protagonist explains that his previous glasses broke, prompting the switch to his current pair. He mentions his recurring adolescent health issues, which frustrate him. While the woman asks about his test results, she confirms he has anemia, and he elaborates that transforming his blood into a weapon requires it to flow, especially since he's given blood to vampires like Satu. The woman notes that aside from anemia, there are no other changes in the test results but suggests it might be better to change his fighting style. The protagonist agrees and says he'll undergo special training. She questions what kind of training, and he explains it's to help him get along better with Enzu, who will soon finish her newcomer training and return. Despite her doubts about their compatibility, she reassures him it'll be fine. As the protagonist approaches the cafe, the woman inside looks up with a surprised expression. When he tries to enter, she politely informs him that the cafe is already closed for the day, leaving him taken aback. As he reaches for the door, the woman inside looks up with a tired, wary expression and asks, "Who are you?" His surprise is clear as he's met with unexpected suspicion. The group gathers around the table, ready to start their meal, but tension quickly rises as one girl loudly questions why a vampire is among them. Another insists they never learned about such a thing in training, leaving the newcomer confused and the others scrambling to explain that special training will be arranged to make up for it. Meanwhile, a small cat-like figure quietly munches nearby, adding a light-hearted touch to the serious conversation. The group decides that the protagonist and Enzu will undergo special training together starting tomorrow. Enzu looks determined but also confused, questioning why she has to be the one paired for vampire training, clearly reluctant about the challenge ahead. The two exchange uneasy glances, both hesitant but understanding the weight of what's to come. Standing firmly, the girl confirms they will begin special training, and the protagonist quietly agrees. She then sternly explains that the way he's been fighting so far relies on his own blood, hinting at the need for a new approach. The girl explains that the protagonist's current fighting style depends on either taking damage or harming himself to draw blood, which isn't sustainable. She insists that special training will focus on fighting without using his own blood, despite her stern tone. The protagonist internally doubts himself, imagining himself as a reckless vampire who kills people, while the girl quietly promises to step in if anything goes wrong. Meanwhile, Enzu feels overwhelmed by the pressure, thinking the girl is a formidable and intimidating presence. The panel closes with a close-up of a vial being opened, signaling the start of their special training. The girl confidently declares that she will take the first strike, summoning a dark, swirling energy around her fingers. The protagonist, shocked and alarmed, demands to know what just happened. She calmly explains that as long as it's not his own blood, he can use anything else, leaving him stunned as she prepares to demonstrate. The girl reveals the vial contains a liquid made from vampire blood collected by Chiba and the others. Explaining its purpose, she instructs him to adjust the amount depending on how many knives he wants to create. Showing a single spear as an example, the protagonist nervously prepares to try using the spear, still processing the new information. The girl expertly forms a spear from the dark liquid, impressing the protagonist with the weapon's sharp, solid shape. She then swiftly tests its reach with a precise kick, demonstrating its practical use. With a determined look, she readies herself, clutching multiple knives and declaring she's about to strike. Nervously gripping the spear, she steels herself and nods in determination. With a burst of speed, she charges forward, eyes locked on her target. The protagonist quickly analyzes the situation, reminding himself that reach is key and that the opponent isn't just a weapon to be defeated. Gripping the spear tightly, the protagonist braces herself as the opponent suddenly launches a barrage of knives. Panic sets in as she realizes she's expected to fight from a distance. Yet the enemy is closing in fast. The spear extends just in time, creating a barrier against the incoming attack. She counts the knives carefully, realizing there are 6 in total, and knows she must dodge 2 more to her side. As she narrowly avoids an attack, her grip tightens on the spear. Aware that only one weapon remains, panic flickers in her eyes as she reminds herself that hesitation in battle is a deadly mistake. The protagonist swiftly switches tactics, gripping a knife as she confronts her opponent head-on. Suddenly, the enemy stumbles, giving her the opening she needs. Seizing the moment, she launches herself forward, tackling him with fierce determination. With the enemy pinned beneath her, she taunts him coldly, shattering any hope he had of an advantage. Her piercing gaze declares him nothing more than a burden, powerless despite his vampire strength. Calm and unyielding, she suggests he quickly gather his belongings and return to his parents' home, an unmistakable dismissal of his threat. Exhausted and curled up on the couch, she admits she can't even lift a hand or foot after the intense training. Despite the struggle, she insists this grueling regimen is her own special kind of discipline. Meanwhile, a quiet observer notes the shift in their dynamic since the last mission, sensing a change in the atmosphere between the two. The protagonist confesses her deep insecurity, convinced that she is absolutely hated by Mukigi. Her friend tries to reassure her, suggesting that maybe he just doesn't know how to connect properly. As they sit together quietly, a distant voice mentions the tragic fate of Anzu's sister, killed by a vampire, adding a somber weight to the conversation. The conversation turns somber as it's revealed that many in the squad have lost family to vampires, fueling deep resentment. Despite this, the friend gently reminds the protagonist that such harsh judgments come from those who don't truly know the real her. With a tender smile, she assures that once people understand the protagonist's true self, they can't help but grow to care for her. The friend encourages the protagonist to give her best in tomorrow's special training, promising to take care of her if she overexerts herself. Exhausted, the protagonist collapses onto the bench, overwhelmed but grateful. Later, they share a quiet meal with others, and the friend offers a comforting touch, reinforcing her support. As the friend quietly washes the dishes, the protagonist questions why she was chosen as the vampire's special training partner. Feeling like the worst match, the friend calmly reminds her that the vampire once seemed unbeatable, and only someone who understands their own weaknesses can truly be strong. The friend explains that only someone like the protagonist can teach the vampire a unique kind of strength, and he believes their compatibility isn't bad at all. Smiling gently, he points out that they share the same kind-hearted nature. As he prepares to leave, he tells her to get ready to head home once his bike arrives. Clutching her helmet tightly, she steels herself with quiet determination. When asked if she's heading home already, she quickly confirms, surprising her friend with her sudden resolve. The atmosphere shifts as she prepares to face whatever comes next. The protagonist admits she's weak, short, small, and lacking strength. She explains that because of these weaknesses, she fights by exploiting timing and surprise attacks. Embracing her vulnerabilities and using them strategically is also a valid way to battle. The protagonist is advised to observe herself more objectively and find a fighting style that suits her better. She quietly agrees, absorbing the advice with determination. As practice continues, she pushes herself to keep going despite exhaustion, asking for just one more round before calling it a day. Despite dodging the attack with all her might, the protagonist realizes her defense is stretched thin. She grips her weapon tightly, acknowledging that simply avoiding attacks isn't enough when her weaknesses are so numerous. Her opponent advises her to observe herself more objectively to find a better strategy. A sudden realization strikes. The protagonist's true strength lies within herself. She contemplates the idea of focusing all her power in one place, especially when she's at her strongest and unable to be overwhelmed. This insight sparks a determined resolve as she begins to understand how to harness her abilities more effectively. The protagonist suddenly throws her weapon with surprising force, catching her opponent off guard. The opponent narrows her eyes, realizing this unexpected move signals a shift in strategy. As the weapon flies, the tension rises, hinting that the fight is about to enter a more intense phase. Summoning every ounce of her strength, the protagonist clenches her fist tightly, determination blazing in her eyes despite the strain. Her opponent braces herself, gripping her weapon firmly, ready to withstand the incoming blow. The clash between their wills and power is about to erupt with unrelenting force. The protagonist's punch shatters the weapon she was holding, leaving her opponent stunned and wide-eyed with shock. The sudden impact clearly catches her off guard, signaling a critical turning point in their fight. The protagonist reflects on her achievement, realizing it's the first time she's won a fight by thinking and acting on her own. Meanwhile, a playful moment unfolds as a dog bites one of the girls, adding a lighthearted contrast to the tension. Outside, the atmosphere shifts to a quiet neighborhood scene where concern lingers, hinting that someone might be in danger despite reassurances. The protagonist carefully tends to the plants, worried that being in such a vulnerable spot could lead to being stepped on. A girl nearby reflects on their compatibility, believing their kindness is a shared trait. Meanwhile, a curious cat intently watches a snail, while a pair of boots approaches, accompanied by a voice expressing strong dislike for vampires. As the sun sets over the quiet neighborhood, a heartfelt conversation unfolds between the two girls. One reassures the other that she doesn't truly hate her, hinting at deeper feelings beneath the surface. The protagonist, seated nearby, listens intently, her expression thoughtful and uncertain. As they walk through the quiet neighborhood, one girl playfully reminds the other to use her fists when dealing with vampires. The other responds with a warm smile, confessing how much she truly cares for Enzu. Their teasing exchange continues, revealing a tender bond beneath their spirited words. Hidden behind a pole and some bushes, the two watch the girls walking by, sharing a quiet moment of relief that both are smiling. Their subtle glances and soft smiles reveal a deeper understanding between them. Meanwhile, the curious cat wonders aloud why they're acting like stalkers, observing from a distance. The train rattles along, carrying the girls as they discuss the three main bases of their unit, Yokohama, Kobe, and their own region of northern Kyushu. One explains their mission focuses on Kyushu, Okinawa, and central China, while the other listens intently, curious about what their comrade Fushimizu has been teaching them. Arriving in Beppu for a joint mission with the 7th Squad, the scene captures the bustling station platform filled with travelers, setting the stage for the next chapter of their journey. The platform at Beppu Station is calm under a clear sky. With a few travelers waiting quietly, our protagonist stands alone, taking in the new surroundings as the journey continues. The moment marks their first arrival in Oita, a fresh chapter unfolding before them. The 7th Squad has already gone ahead on a separate errand, leaving the girls to figure out where to meet up at the station. One wonders aloud about the meeting point, while the other asks if they've ever met Enzu before. The reply is that they've only exchanged greetings during training, but never had a proper meeting. The girls discuss the nature of their joint mission, noting that while they usually operate within their own squads, this time they're patrolling together to improve communication between teams. As they talk, a curious three-eyed creature watches from inside a bag. Meanwhile, the station remains busy with travelers, setting the scene for their upcoming collaboration. The 7th Squad's vice captain appears, calmly holding a book and confirming that they have just arrived as well. The girl recognizes him and recalls his name, Shino no Mi. Suddenly, another girl enthusiastically rushes over to greet him, breaking the quiet moment. The girl excitedly reveals that Makoto is Arasaki's younger brother. Surprising the others, Arasaki, flustered, protests that they live together and haven't been apart, while the girl insists she wanted to see him again after a long time. Observing the scene, the first girl quietly comments on how close they seem. Meanwhile, Makoto nervously asks the vice captain for tea, trying to divert attention from the affectionate reunion. The girl silently recalls a past moment, her expression serious as she holds out a bottle of tea. Meanwhile, Makoto nervously watches the affectionate reunion from a distance, quietly asking for tea to ease the tension. Despite the chaotic scene behind him, he manages a small, grateful smile as he receives the drink. The girl quietly recalls a serious promise made by her former master, not to kill Mabachi Shinonome. As the group gathers and prepares to start their patrol, the atmosphere shifts from reflection to action. Meanwhile, a cat toy scratches eagerly, signaling the urgency to move forward. The group gears up and eagerly agrees to start their patrol right away. As they arrive at the station, curiosity sparks over a peculiar statue, prompting a cheerful photo moment despite some hesitation. The energy is light and hopeful as the first day of their partnership begins. The girl happily adds a new contact to her phone after redoing it due to earlier interference. Meanwhile, the calm young man introduces himself as Makoto Arasaki, vice captain of the 7th Squad. Extending a hand in greeting, they shake hands, exchanging polite words as the girl nervously admits this is her first time on patrol, unsure of what to expect. Makoto explains how the handheld radar detects vampire reactions, guiding their patrol. As they activate the device, it emits a series of beeps, alerting them to nearby activity. Suddenly, the signals stop, leaving both of them puzzled and alert. The alarm suddenly beeps, signaling a vampire reaction on the radar, and the girl realizes it's coming from Satu. They discuss adjusting the device so it won't respond to him, with Makoto confirming the reaction strength is normal. Meanwhile, a curious three-eyed cat appears, prompting Makoto to wonder if the device might be malfunctioning. The curious three-eyed cat strolls by, prompting a thoughtful response from the girl as she acknowledges the possibility of vampires being more common than expected. Meanwhile, the boy casually mentions that their outing is partly a consolation trip, surprising her with the idea of it being a sort of journey. As the moment softens, she quietly wishes that Fushimizu could have joined them. As they walk together, the boy mentions that although he has work today, he'll be heading to a hot spring tomorrow, sparking her excitement. They chat about how close the vigilante teams seem, with the boy noting that his own team feels more like colleagues. She quietly wonders if their team is really that close-knit after all. As they walk, The boy remarks that their team seems like a close-knit family, prompting the girl to quietly repeat the word family to herself. Touched by the thought, he notices her reaction and comments on her honest response, teasing her gently about being straightforward with compliments. As they cross the street, he asks if it's her first time in Hatsuoita, and she confirms it excitedly. He offers to guide them around since he's from the area and not on duty this time, suggesting they meet up with the others and head to the hot springs. Her eyes sparkle with anticipation at the mention of the onsen, while he quietly admires her genuine enthusiasm. Meanwhile, the cat grumbles about not being allowed to join because it's a hot spring, reminding everyone it's a cat after all. At that moment, the girls enjoy some crispy chicken tempura, praising its deliciousness. One tries to coax Mume into trying some, but she remains silent and distant, likely too full to eat. The others laugh it off, guessing she must be completely stuffed already. The time on the phone reads 17:56 as the scene shifts. Suddenly, a girl dashes up and clings tightly to the boy, calling out to him with excitement. He looks surprised but doesn't resist as she wraps her arms around him, while two girls nearby greet each other warmly after a long day. When asked about Mume, they realize she has already returned to the hotel, leaving everyone a bit puzzled. The boy gently intertwines his pinky with hers, expressing regret. Nearby, the cat is told to wait while the girl cheerfully invites Enzu inside. In the bath, the boy asks Enzu what she talked about with Mume today, but she shyly replies that it was nothing special, leaving him curious. As they soak in the bath, the girl wonders what she should say tomorrow since they'll be together. The others mention that the upper management's preferences kept some new trainees away, leaving even her unsure about many things. Quietly, she hopes to learn more about Mume by the next day. Alone in the quiet bathroom, she stands before the mirror, her bare feet touching the cold tiles as discarded clothes lie forgotten nearby. Her fingers trace the jagged scar running across her chest, a silent reminder of something deeply personal. Meeting her own gaze, a mix of contemplation and melancholy flickers in her eyes. As the day begins, the group sets off with determination, teasing each other playfully along the way. Their light-hearted banter fills the streets, hinting at the close bonds they share. Meanwhile, one girl looks up thoughtfully, caught between the lively exchange and her own quiet reflections. On the second day, the protagonist and Sada part ways with Enzu and the others, sharing a tense silence, despite the quiet company of a cat and a passerby. The two still haven't exchanged a single word. Frustration and anxiety build as the silence stretches on, leaving the protagonist desperate for a breakthrough. Determined to break the silence, the protagonist sees this as a chance to get closer and tries to spark a conversation. He asks about her name, origins, favorite foods, colors, and people, but each time she only replies with a vague, "I don't know." Frustration builds as her elusive answers keep him at a distance. She reveals she doesn't know her own name, where she was born, or anything about her parents, deepening the mystery surrounding her past. When the protagonist nervously apologizes, she questions the meaning behind his questions, confessing that she just wants a reason to get closer. Their tense exchange escalates as she challenges whether such closeness is even necessary. She admits she's never thought about whether friendship is necessary. She simply wants to be friends. Questioning this, she asks if the protagonist truly needs her as a friend. Meanwhile, a man sternly warns that she must not be killed, insisting she will become essential to them from now on. The scene closes with a quiet affirmation of that necessity. She quietly admits that she needs him too, her voice soft but sincere. The moment lingers between them, charged with unspoken feelings. As they stand together on the empty street, her heart beats steadily, signaling a fragile but growing connection. As raindrops begin to fall, the girls scramble to find shelter, urging each other to wait out the rain inside a nearby shop. Despite the sudden downpour, one of them notes they haven't yet found a place to stay dry. The quiet, empty shopping street stretches ahead, completely deserted under the rain. Suddenly, an alarm blares through the empty shopping street, startling the girls. Panic sets in as they realize the danger is closing in, and one of them urgently calls out, trying to get the others' attention. The tension rises as they scramble to figure out their next move amid the blaring siren. Amid the relentless alarm blaring around them, the girls call out anxiously, urging each other to stop and stay safe. One of them quickly pulls out her phone, determined to contact their friends for help. Meanwhile, a three-eyed cat watches the tense scene unfold, its wide eyes reflecting the urgency in the air as the rain continues to pour. As the rain continues to pour, one girl clutches her phone nervously, sensing something off in the narrow street. Suddenly, a figure leaps down from above, catching her completely off guard. Her eyes widen in shock as the unexpected presence draws near. The man crouches down, greeting with a familiar "long time no see." As he holds the three-eyed cat gently, the girl's eyes widen in surprise. Recognizing him and calling out his name, "Satu!" The tension shifts as the unexpected reunion unfolds in the rain-soaked alley. The tense moment escalates as one girl suddenly grabs the other by the throat. A cruel smile on her face, the victim struggles to breathe. Her panic and pain evident as she gasps and tries to resist. Desperation sets in as she fights for air, her body trembling under the relentless grip. The girl reveals she was ordered by her former master not to kill Shinen Omabachi, but no instructions were given about causing harm. The victim gasps in pain, struggling desperately as the grip tightens around her throat. Meanwhile, the man holding the cat watches silently, his expression unreadable amidst the tension. The mysterious man and Mumei join forces, their hands clasped tightly as a web of fate weaves around them. Their alliance sets in motion the ex-master's plan, intertwining the destinies of Mabachi and Satu in ways yet to be revealed. The quiet alley echoes with tension, signaling the calm before the storm. As the rain begins to fall, the trio Mabachi, Satu, and Arisa stand quietly under an awning, acknowledging the sudden downpour. Despite the weather forecast predicting clear skies, the rain comes as a surprise, leaving them to adapt their plans. Mabachi, shivering slightly, checks her phone, noting the unexpected change. As the rain continues, a call comes through on the phone, and Mabachi answers nervously. Suddenly, a loud bang startles the group, causing them all to jump in surprise. The tension rises as they try to make sense of the unexpected noise. Mabachi, still shaken, clutches her phone tightly as she nervously calls out to her sister, her voice trembling with worry. Meanwhile, a tense voice scolds someone for being too harsh, hinting at a strained situation. Nearby, a figure tries to rouse someone unconscious, urgency clear in their tone as they repeatedly call out. The girl, bound to a chair in a stark, tiled room, slowly begins to regain consciousness, her body trembling as she tries to move, confused and disoriented. She wonders where she is, while a calm figure approaches with a sly smile, greeting her casually. The man suddenly reveals a strange cat-like creature, causing the girl to flinch in surprise. She anxiously asks if the creature is unconscious, relieved to hear it's unharmed. The man casually assures her he won't kill her, spinning around with the cat in hand, while she struggles against her restraints, desperate to understand where they are and why this is happening. The man explains coldly that she must sever her contract with Adam, urging her to stop wasting time with pointless killings and to handle things directly. The girl, shocked and confused, questions the mention of Adam and a mission, while the man smirks, casually confirming that Mumei is just a dog. The girl stands alone on a rooftop, gazing out over the city as she calmly responds that there are no problems for now. She nervously touches her hair while clutching a book, her heartbeat growing louder in her ears, reflecting on someone named Shinen Omabachi. She reveals that this person has been modified to blindly obey an old man's commands, losing all sense of self. The girl, trembling and confused, asks what it means to call someone a dog. The man calmly explains that like a dog obeying commands, sitting or shaking hands on order, Mumei will follow any command given, even if told to kill Shinen Omabachi. When she asks if Mumei is really an ally and questions the man's role, he firmly declares that if ordered, she will kill without hesitation. Overwhelmed by terror and despair, the characters break down into uncontrollable sobs, their bodies trembling violently as they cry out in anguish. The weight of the situation crushes them, leaving them utterly shattered and desperate. Despite the knife forced into his mouth, he insists they have no real desire to kill, only seeking a contract with Adam to harness their power wisely. His trembling body struggles to stay still, while his tear-streaked face reveals confusion and desperation as he pleads for understanding. Nearby, a cat lies peacefully, contrasting the tense and painful moment unfolding. The man forcefully opens the woman's mouth, telling her that the power of the original vampire is far too great for her. She trembles in shock and fear, barely able to speak as he insists she say Nahi. Her wide, terrified eyes fixate on him, overwhelmed by the gravity of his command. The man cruelly forces the knife deeper into the woman's mouth, mocking her supposed memory loss as he taunts her with sinister laughter. She trembles violently, her body shaking uncontrollably in the cold, damp cell as the weight of her torment crushes her spirit. The chilling revelation about the original vampire ancestors lingers ominously in the background, underscoring the impossible burden she faces. The man smirks with a twisted satisfaction as he holds the cat up by its ears, casually inspecting the damage. Nearby, the injured woman slumps against the wall, bloodied and weak, while the man nonchalantly cleans the wound, downplaying the severity by saying it's just a slight brain stimulation. The cat, now resting on a cushion, looks on with an indifferent expression as the man suddenly remembers something important he had forgotten to mention. The cat twitches slightly, alert to the sudden shift in the room. The door creaks open, and a new figure steps inside, breaking the tense silence. The man announces an introduction, revealing a young boy named Keikuin, who stands nervously beside a smiling, relaxed companion. The boy shyly walks alongside the relaxed man, who remarks on how happily the boy seems to be walking with his mother. The injured woman, still weak and trembling, tries to speak about the boy's mother, her voice barely steady. The man smirks with a sinister grin, teasing the boy gently, while the woman struggles to hold back her frustration and fear as the boy flinches in response. Keikuin trembles violently, tears streaming down his face as he struggles to hold himself together. The relaxed man gently steadies him, whispering reassurances, but the boy suddenly vomits uncontrollably, shocking everyone present. The injured woman looks on in horror, unable to comprehend what's happening. The injured woman, trembling and defeated, drops a bloodied knife to the floor as she struggles to speak. She pleads for the boy to be taken to the same place as his mother, her voice weak but desperate. Meanwhile, a sinister figure coldly rationalizes their repeated killings, revealing a chilling acceptance of their violent past. The man's sinister grin widens as he coldly asks how many people the boy has killed. His tone mocking and unsettling, the boy, trembling and bloodied, struggles to comprehend the question. His mind foggy and confused, nearby, an older man, smelling of alcohol, bitterly recalls being labeled a vampire, while another figure quietly pleads for the questioning to stop, overwhelmed by the grim conversation. The boy, clutching his wounded side, quietly utters the name Shinonome. His voice barely steady. Nearby, a grotesque figure recalls the discovery of the woman's body but admits the older man was never found. The boy remains alone and broken, reflecting bitterly on how they once thought they had defeated the vampire, only to be proven wrong time and again. The boy, haunted and broken, confesses with tear-filled eyes that he has been killing people all along. As he collapses, a grotesque, many-mouthed creature approaches him, ready to consume him. The scene darkens as the boy is swallowed, sealing his tragic fate. The creature recalls everything clearly now, but its body feels heavy and unresponsive, weighed down by exhaustion. As it moves through the dark forest, the eerie silence is broken only by the rustling of leaves. Emerging into the moonlit clearing, the grotesque figure stands alone, its unsettling form casting a haunting shadow among the trees. Frustration boils over as the creature curses Eve's betrayal and the foolishness of dealing with humans, despite exhaustion. It demands they find and kill Adam at all costs. The creature, resigned to its monstrous form, contemplates if anything could change its fate, before a sudden sound catches its attention near a grave marked Michan. A strange three-eyed cat cautiously approaches, commenting on the creature's still-living state and judging it not too bad. The creature's heavy heartbeat echoes as it longs for a place to rest. The cat leads the way toward a large, gated house, offering a glimmer of refuge in the night. The three-eyed cat confidently leads the way, assuring the creature that this place isn't a bad spot to rest. Suddenly, the creature collapses, struggling to move its body and regain consciousness. As it drifts in and out of awareness, a mysterious figure's shoe appears nearby, accompanied by a voice asking who it is. The three-eyed cat, now resting on a cushion by the warm fireplace, hears a familiar voice calling its name and offering food. Despite the cozy setting, the cat's expression suddenly shifts to one of fierce anger, silently vowing revenge against the human who betrayed it. Meanwhile, the smiling young man gently suggests it's time to eat. The three-eyed cat eagerly devours the food offered, its wide eyes sparkling with hunger. The boy calmly reminds it to eat slowly or it could be dangerous, admitting he too craves blood but understands this meal is necessary for now. As the cat eats, it silently vows to spare the boy's life until it regains its strength, though the thread of revenge still lingers beneath the surface. The three-eyed cat calls out softly for its father and mother, its voice filled with longing. It pauses by the bed, staring with wide eyes as memories flood back. Meanwhile, a young man cheerfully announces he's off to school, warning the cat not to enter the dangerous forest, and later returns, worn and tired but relieved to be home. Late at night, the boy quietly cries, feeling the weight of being half-human and the pain of not fitting in despite looking beautiful. He wonders why people are so cruel to each other. Even though they are all the same, outside, a chilling presence lurks in the snowy forest, hinting at the vampire's ominous watchfulness. The boy reflects quietly on the simple kindness he received: care for his wounds, food, and a place to rest. Realizing it was never about owing anyone, as he moves through the snowy forest, he calls out desperately for someone to wait, but exhaustion overtakes him, and he collapses into the cold snow, begging quietly for them not to leave. The boy confesses he always knew the girl wasn't really Maiko, because Maiko had died. Right there in his arms, despite losing both parents and living alone in that house. He stayed alive only because Maiko was with him. Even when everything seemed lost and he thought about giving up, the presence of this other person kept him going. Though she wasn't truly Maiko, being with this other presence felt comforting. A lifeline against the loneliness ahead. The boy, clutching a small flower, offers everything he has, speaking of a contract that demands a price, and wonders what the other truly desires from him. The boy envisions a future where he might meet someone new, a possibility that fills him with cautious hope. Memories of warmth and connection flash before him. Smiles, laughter, and the comfort of loved ones surrounding him, despite the uncertainty. He quietly insists to himself that it's not yet time to give up. Kneeling in the snow, the boy pleads with the towering, otherworldly creature before him, asking it to protect him in his place. The creature's eerie, skeletal form and immense wings loom over him, embodying the weight of the contract and the uncertain power it holds. The young man confirms that things are unfolding just as Makoto predicted, while the woman excitedly urges him to stay focused. Meanwhile, a third figure analyzes data from Sato's reaction, suggesting they're likely still nearby and that tracking this response could lead them to him. The group arrives at a dilapidated building, its windows shattered and walls cracked, signaling danger within. As they prepare to enter, a warning to stay cautious is exchanged, heightening the tension. Inside, the unsettling sight of a girl entangled in writhing, vine-like tendrils confirms their worst fears. This won't be an easy rescue. The man, reclining with a tired expression, remarks on how quickly things are progressing. He gently places his hand on the large, peculiar creature beside him, suggesting it's time for them to move. The quiet room holds a strange calm as the creature responds softly, while a distant voice calls out to him. As night falls over the quiet neighborhood, a young girl cheerfully calls out to her father, inviting him to dinner. She eagerly wraps her arms around him, sensing something good has happened. Meanwhile, the father stands by the window, lost in thought, as the peaceful evening unfolds. The father gently reassures his daughter that work is going well, and soon her mother will be home. The girl beams with joy, hugging him tightly as she excitedly looks forward to seeing her mother again. The warmth of their bond fills the quiet room with hope. The protagonist reveals that his task is to hand over Adam to the old man, but he's not too worried. If worse comes to worst, at least Keikuin can escape. As he prepares to head toward the emergency exit, a sudden sound catches his attention, signaling that something unexpected is about to happen. The protagonist confronts the man in front of him, gripping his sword with a steady resolve. His eyes narrow behind his glasses as he coldly asks if their next meeting will end in death. Suddenly, a woman appears, aiming a gun and calling out to Keikuin, urging him toward another exit. The tension escalates as the unexpected encounter unfolds. Surrounded and with no way to escape, the protagonist faces a deadly ambush. As tension rises, he calmly breaks the restraints binding his wrist, blood dripping from the effort. With a cold smile, he declares that today will be the enemy's last day alive. As the protagonist swiftly breaks free, a strange creature urgently demands the whereabouts of Mabachi and Satu. He quickly scans the hallway, realizing the answer might lie in the room at the end. With no time to waste, he charges forward, gripping his sword tightly, ready for whatever awaits. The protagonist cautiously steps forward, sword ready, as the strange creatures react in shock at his sudden appearance. One of them questions the vampire's identity, while the protagonist realizes he was being protected from behind all along. Suddenly, a woman calls out urgently, aiming her gun at him, halting his advance. The eerie creature warns that Keikuin might die if he fires, while the woman ominously mentions Mabachi inside with them. Suddenly, the protagonist lunges forward, but the creature swiftly blocks him, questioning if he let the vampire in. The tension escalates as the creature prepares to strike, determined to prevent any rescue. Trapped within the pulsating mass, she feels an unexpected warmth surrounding her. Realization dawns. She and Satu were swallowed together by the vampire. Faint sounds reach her ears, stirring questions about what lies ahead, but amidst the uncertainty, she recalls the painful truth. She was the one who killed her foster father. Haunted by the memory of killing her foster father, she wonders if those around her would still treat her the same if they knew the truth. Doubt and fear weigh heavily on her, as she questions whether their relationships can ever return to how they were before. The thought terrifies her deeply, leaving her feeling isolated and vulnerable. As despair threatens to consume them, the protagonist steels herself, unwilling to accept rejection from everyone. Determined, she resolves not to die trapped in this nightmare. Meanwhile, the three-eyed creature firmly declares it won't give up without a fight. The protagonist lies among a strange organic mass, her gaze fixed on the three-eyed creature before her. The creature warns her not to be careless, revealing it has also heard the voice of their enemy. Tension rises as both prepare for what's coming next, the atmosphere thick with unease. The creature dashes forward, urgently calling out to Mabachi. The protagonist warns that attacking might also harm Mabachi, questioning if it can even emerge from inside. Despite the risks, Mabachi suddenly bursts out, surprising everyone. Mabachi bursts out from the organic mass, catching everyone off guard. The protagonist clings to the small creature, urging everyone to retreat quickly for their safety. Meanwhile, another figure steels themselves, ready to take action with determination. A heartfelt memory flashes, showing a group of friends smiling together, reminding the protagonist that they are not alone. Back in the present, the small creature asks for help despite the pain, and the protagonist warns that using its power might be too much for its body to handle, possibly even fatal. Yet, when asked if it still wants to try, the creature quietly agrees, showing its determination. Despite the pain and the risks, she clings tightly to the small creature, her voice trembling but resolute as she declares her determination to move forward no matter what. The small creature struggles to move, caught in a grotesque, constricting form, while the protagonist rushes forward in desperation. Blood drips from the creature's mouth, showing the toll the power is taking. With a mix of shock and concern, the protagonist pleads for it to keep going, unwilling to give up now. Suddenly, a powerful punch lands squarely on the protagonist's face, sending her reeling backward down the stairs. Nearby, a shocked bystander watches the brutal attack unfold, unable to intervene. The tension spikes as the protagonist struggles to stay conscious, the fight far from over. Bruised and battered, the protagonist struggles to stand, her voice weak but desperate as she calls out. A concerned ally rushes to support her, while a sinister figure looms nearby, repeatedly whispering the chilling word, kill. The tension escalates as danger closes in, and the protagonist clings to the fragile hope of survival. Just as the protagonist is about to collapse, a sharp, decisive strike lands, wounding her deeply. Her eyes widen in shock and pain, the gravity of the injury sinking in. Meanwhile, an ally urgently calls out, rallying others to protect the injured with fierce determination. Frustration bubbles up as trembling hands mutter curses under their breath, struggling to grasp control. Footsteps echo ominously on the stairs, drawing closer with each step. A worried voice calls out, checking if the protagonist is all right, to which she weakly responds. Despite her pain, the protagonist finds comfort in a familiar voice calling her name gently, supported by a caring ally. She is carried up the stairs, welcomed back with warmth and relief. A quiet moment of reassurance passes as she clings tightly, grateful to be safe for now. Blood drips steadily from the wound, pooling on the ground as heavy breaths escape. The injured one glares with fierce determination despite the pain, muttering a sharp rebuke. Suddenly, a desperate, aggressive strike is launched toward the silent figure standing before them. The protagonist lies immobilized, tendrils wrapping tightly around their limbs, sealing their fate. As the suffocating grip tightens, their eyes remain wide, filled with a mix of shock and defiance. A sudden, violent splash of liquid erupts as the tendrils pierce through, while a chilling whisper of kill echoes relentlessly around them. The protagonist stands over the fallen figure, sword in hand, quietly wishing they could bring them back before everything burns away. The injured one, lying on the ground, fixates on a single, deadly word, kill, repeated with unwavering intensity in their wide, desperate eyes. The protagonist demands to know if Keed is still alive in their territory, their voice cutting through the relentless whispers of kill surrounding them. They question whether the injured one has already lost their humanity, challenging the fading consciousness with a cold, sharp resolve. Meanwhile, the injured figure weakly retorts, dismissing any knowledge of the protagonist's woman, admitting to a fragile memory that slips away with each step. The protagonist coldly accepts the injured one's fading defiance, lighting a lighter with steady resolve. They vow to ensure the fallen's funeral rites are seen through, despite the bitter warning to not interfere. With a final, harsh command, they urge the dying figure to pass on quickly. The protagonist's gaze hardens as the lighter flickers to life. With a steady hand, they release the burning remains into the flames, then grip the leg of the fading figure, urging them to let go. As the fire roars, the protagonist turns away, ascending the stairs with cold determination, leaving the past to burn behind them. 6 months later, the protagonist stands by the shore with a small cat, quietly hoping this one isn't human. They mention that others will be taken care of by Fushimizu and his group, signaling a tentative step toward moving on. As the waves crash softly, the protagonist turns away, the weight of the past still lingering but slowly fading. The protagonist wonders aloud where Mume and the former commander might have gone. While the cat offers a non-committal response, nearby, others speculate that perhaps Nobor has already died somewhere. As the waves gently lap the shore, the quiet uncertainty of what lies ahead lingers in the air. It was revealed that the former commander and Mume had disappeared. Meanwhile, it was discovered that the former commanders had been systematically turning people into vampires, causing chaos within the ranks. Research by Chiba and her team showed that the blood of humans turned into vampires contained the same components as Sato's blood. The protagonist reflects quietly on the scar on their face, wondering if it was truly better left unhealed. They decide to keep the mark as a reminder not to forget the past. Nearby, the cat contemplates the need to properly protect the one who made a contract with the protagonist's predecessor, sparking curiosity about this mysterious figure. As the group prepares to part ways for the night, one of them calls out to Mabachi, asking what she wants to eat. They mention that Fushimizu will be making breakfast in the morning, and with that assurance, the others decide to head home early. Mabachi happily responds, ready to enjoy the meal prepared for her. With a shy smile and a faint blush, she softly expresses her simple wish for a piece of bread, her words carrying a quiet warmth against the backdrop of the sea. No matter how close their heart is to breaking or tears blur their vision, and even when loneliness threatens to overwhelm them, the group remains determined to face whatever lies ahead. As the evening deepens by the sea, their quiet resolve is met with a gentle call from Mabachi, who shyly responds, ready to return home and share a simple meal together. The sun sets gently over the quiet beach, casting long shadows as the group stands together. A small dog by their side, they are no longer alone. Their bond shines as brightly as the fading light. This moment marks a hopeful new beginning, united against the coming days.